LiberalViewer presents.
So the next topic I want to cover is one that I used for my excerpt clip. This was one of my more controversial videos. I think last time I looked it had like 142 thumbs up and 142 thumbs down, so it really split my viewership. I was talking about whether liberals are too tolerant of Islam. That was a topic that Bill Maher brought up on HBO's Real Time last the Friday before last, before my last show. And I don't think I actually did that great a job of critiquing his argument, because, you know, I do like this impromptu argument with so many different clips that I don't really spend a lot of time preparing any one argument. And that was an argument from almost the end of the show. And anyway, I like forgot to mention that the big stain he was putting on Islam, female genital mutilation, actually isn't required by Islam and isn't practiced by most Muslims, and actually predates Islam and has a lot more to do with some of the, you know, old cultural practices from those places, and there are even Christians that practice it in some of those same areas. So it's not so much a Muslim problem as it is an African problem in, you know, certain parts of Africa. And my real criticism of what Bill Maher was saying is that he was attributing to the religion of Islam some of the radical beliefs of some of the people who believe in Islam. And I don't think that you can really blame the Muslim religion for that, especially because there are a lot of moderate and even progressive Muslims. I work with progressive Muslims all the time, and that's why I'm sensitive to blaming the religion when you really want to blame, you want to say that some Muslim countries are really negative in their treatment of women. And you know, I don't think there are liberals who are unwilling to say it. At least as a liberal myself, I'm perfectly willing to criticize Saudi Arabia and Egypt and a lot of countries that aren't liberal democracies. And anyway, I'll talk about that a little more after I show a discussion between Bill Maher and Sam Harris, the well-known atheist, and actor Ben Affleck, who kind of takes my side on this, and also journalist Nicholas Kristof, who also does a good job of taking the side that I wish I'd done a better job on last week. And anyway, I'll discuss it a little more after I show you that clip where Bill Maher introduces it, talking about liberal values that I definitely agree with over here.
So the other thing we want to talk about, of course, is that you and I have been trying to make the case, I think, I have anyway, that liberals need to stand up for liberal principles. This is what I said on last week's show. Obviously, I got a lot of hate for it, but all I'm saying is that liberal principles like freedom of speech, freedom to practice any religion you want without fear of violence, freedom to leave a religion, equality for women, equality for minorities, including homosexuals. These are liberal principles that liberals applaud for, but then when you say in the Muslim world this is what's lacking, then they get upset.
Yeah. Well, liberals have really failed on the topic of theocracy. They'll criticize white theocracy, they'll criticize Christians, they'll still get agitated over the abortion clinic bombing that happened in 1984, but when you want to talk about the treatment of women and homosexuals and free thinkers and public intellectuals in the Muslim world, I would argue that liberals have failed us. And the crucial point of confusion, thank you.
Thank God you're here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the crucial point of confusion is that we have been sold this meme of Islamophobia, where every criticism of the doctrine of Islam gets conflated with bigotry toward Muslims as people.
Right.
And that is it's intellectually ridiculous. Even it gets
so hold on, are
racism.
you the person who understands the officially codified doctrine of Islam? You're the interpreter of that, so you can say, well, this is...
I'm actually well educated on this topic.
I'm asking you. So you're saying if I criticize you're saying that Islamophobia is not a real thing. That if you're critical of something...
Well, it's not a real thing when we do it.
Right.
Well, no,
it really isn't.
I'm not denying that certain people are bigoted against Muslims as people, and that's a problem.
Big of you.
But the
But why are you so
have
hostile about
Because
this
it's
concept?
gross. It's racist.
It's not. But it's so not.
It's like saying those stateless, shifty Jew.
You're not listening
Absolutely
to
not.
what we are saying.
You guys are saying if you want to be liberals, believe in liberal principles like freedom of speech, like you know, we are endowed by our forefathers with inalienable rights, like all men are created equal.
Ben, we have to be able to criticize bad ideas. And
of course we do. No liberal doesn't want
okay,
to criticize bad
but
ideas.
Islam at this moment is the motherlode of bad ideas.
Jesus.
So we have
That's
ideas
just a fact.
like blasphemy.
It's an ugly thing.
Apostasy.
It is
one basic liberal
let me
principle
unpack
is
it.
tolerance.
Let me unpack it.
But not for intolerance.
No, of course not. But the picture you're painting is, to some extent, true, but is hugely incomplete. It is certainly true that plenty of fanatics and jihadis are Muslim, but the people who are standing up to them, Malala, incredible Muhammad Ali Dadak in Iran, in prison for 9 years for speaking up for Christians. A friend that I had in Pakistan who was shot this year, Rashid Rahman, for defending people accused of apostasy.
Nick,
Or how about the more than 1 billion people who aren't
Muslims
fanatical, who don't punish women, who just want to go to the store,
Wait a second.
sandwiches,
Wait a
25
second.
times a day,
Right.
and
Wait a
don't do
second.
any of the things that you're saying all Muslims
Wait a
do.
second.
Wait.
Stereotyping.
I'm not saying
Wait,
all
take
Wait a
few bad
second.
things, and you painting the whole group religion with that. same brush.
And so, yeah, I definitely agree with what Nicholas Kristof and Ben Affleck were saying there, that not that liberals shouldn't criticize Saudi Arabia and Egypt and other countries, Muslim countries, where they have mistreatment of women and a lack of liberal democracy and all sorts of problems. I agree liberals should criticize those lack of liberal ideals in all of those countries, although I think last week Bill Maher was trying to imply a little bit that liberals shouldn't worry as much about some of the first world problems we have here, but worry more about those third world problems, although he didn't exactly say that, but he was comparing the two and making it seem like one was a big deal and the other wasn't such a big deal, where I think some of those things really are kind of a big deal and are important, and the fact that people are treated worse in some Muslim countries doesn't mean that we should worry less about things we can actually do something about here in our own country. And my biggest problem with what Bill Maher was saying is he's saying it's the religion of Islam, when there are good and bad things in a lot of religions, and all the major, in Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, there's good things if you read those books, and there's bad things in all of those books. In fact, I make this point in a video I made back when Saddam Hussein was hanged in Iraq. Even back then I was making the same argument that people take out of religion sometimes, in a lot of ways, what they bring to it. Their cultures and their history shape whether they're going to be moderate Muslims or they're going to be radical Muslims. And there are 1.5 billion Muslims, and most of them don't fit into the categories that Bill Maher and even Sam Harris, they talked about it. They went back and forth a lot more in parts of the argument I didn't show, but down in the video description I put a link to the entire 10+ minute argument available currently on YouTube. I'm sorry if I left some of you with the feeling that I was strawmanning what Bill Maher said, or that I was not seeing the flaws in what a lot of these radical Muslims believe. I definitely criticize the radical Muslims, but I also know a lot of progressive Muslims who use the same book to pick out different things, just like there are liberal Christians and there are conservative Christians, and there are liberal Jews and there are conservative Jews, and they take the same book and there's like humanist strains and really uplifting strains that say every person should be treated with respect and dignity, and then there are really militaristic strains that say kill the infidel or kill all the people in the land who are the women and children. You can find that in the Old Testament, and that book is part of all three of the religions I mentioned. So anyway, I wanted to spend a little more time on that because I got a lot of negative response from some of my more loyal viewers, and I kind of expected that when I made it an excerpt video, because I know that there, a lot of controversy on YouTube. There are some big YouTubers who are not happy with Muslims in general, and who some people who aren't happy with religion in general, and I can understand that, but I actually like to differentiate between the radicals and the radical fundamentalists and the more liberal and progressive people who happen to believe in those religions. People can get their values from a lot of different places. I also made that same argument in a video I made about Ayaan Hirsi Ali back when she appeared on the Colbert Report. That's another. I can put a link up in the video if you're watching this as a recorded show. Anyway, I wanted to, like I said, expand a little more on that because I don't think I did that great a job arguing about it last week. You can let me know what you think. Are Bill Maher and Sam Harris overgeneralizing about Islam based on the admittedly illiberal beliefs of some Muslims? Or, put another way, given the peaceful humanist values and aggressive militaristic values written into the scriptures of all three Abrahamic religions, shouldn't we put the responsibility for which values are taken to heart on the readers instead of the books?
YouTube, you decide.